Welcome back. I'm Jeff,
I'm Ron Burgundy.
and you're listening to Death Metal Daddies.
Ooh, bitty bitty.
We're back. Slight
Ooh,
break.
the vape looks really cool on the light
Oh
fixture
yeah,
whenever you kind of blow it onto there. I like that. That's pretty sweet.
I can
Nice.
kind of see it.
Yeah,
My
that's
picture's a little smaller.
it's pretty sick.
Yeah, man.
Well,
It's been a minute. What you
how the
been
hell
up
you been?
to?
Yeah, dude, I know. It's I've been busy, man. It's just been chaos. Chaotic lately. Busy working, just did a foam job today. Grinding away on school. Other than that, trying to think if I've done anything fun since we've been away. Hunting season's in full swing, obviously, so I've kind of been spending some time doing that. Yeah, man, I'd say the work is what kind of lagged me up on this get together here. I've had some weeknight foam jobs and stuff like that that I ran into.
Mhm.
Didn't anticipate being this busy with it around this time, but more moolah, so I can't
Yeah,
complain.
yeah, I got you.
What you
Especially with
been
that
doing?
Christmas right around the corner, getting that push.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Cushioning that budget.
Yeah, yeah. I've been busy here myself. A lot of different things. Had to go to Just City for a week for a workshop for work. Had to go to Dexter, Missouri, which I've never been to. You heard of Dexter?
I no, no, I haven't. Is that like a town of like 50 people?
It's pretty small. It's country as hell. It's southeast Missouri. It's like 4 hours from where I'm at.
Oh
Uh,
shit.
they even
Wow.
it's so south. They have the armory I had to go to was surrounded by a cotton field, which I didn't know we even had in Missouri.
Huh.
So
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen one in person.
they actually look really cool. It's almost like imagine like TV static, like that white and black, but just
Hmm.
still. So almost calming to look at.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, did that.
That's funny.
Installed some toilets, got some new toilets, updated those. Um,
Oh.
finished my book, finally finished The Stand. Now I'm reading my new book.
Oh. Stephen King?
Yep. I started watching the
Okay.
show too, because now that I finished, I want to watch the show. But I only got 4 episodes and was like, all right, I'm not too into this. This is a little, they changed a lot.
Mm.
Not too big fan of too much of the casting. Because this was like, I think just post COVID, and they had there's this character who's supposed to be like this 30-year-old virgin, but she's supposed to be like and she's supposed to be motherly and like teacherly, but she secretly like is going to be the bride of the like evil character. They picked
Hmm.
Amber Heard to
Oh shit. Amber Turd.
so that was a little
Fun.
odd. Yeah, now I'm
I
reading
thought her career was dead.
this was before that, before the
Oh,
Johnny Depp thing.
before the pooping.
Yes. Uh
Wow.
yeah, now I'm reading War by Bob Woodward. Smaller book, not as big as The Stand was, but interesting, different pace, nonfiction, all foreign policy. I love Bob Woodward. He's the guy who wrote the those three Trump books that were big deals, like Fear, Rage, and Peril was half Trump, half Biden. He writes pretty much a book about every president because he's a very
Hmm.
in-depth journalist. Very interesting. This
Okay.
one's about Biden's presidency, and then also kind of like Trump's like build up and campaign, but it's all about like the foreign policy with like Ukraine, Russia, and stuff like
Oh,
that. It's really good so far.
interesting. Is that like I guess writing that it seems like there's non-bias in there if he's writing on both sides.
He you can tell a little bit of his bias, but he does. He's not afraid if he has an opinion. He's not afraid to say it. Like
Hmm.
I was telling people about it because there's like this bombshell that came out in the news that I guess Trump gave at the height of COVID when COVID tests were limited. He gave a bunch of them to Putin, like secretly, and said for personal use. And I guess he's called them or met with them. He didn't say call or what it was 7 times post presidency. That was a big deal. So there's a lot of people who are like, "Oh no, I'm not going to read that. That's like fake news, liberal garbage, blah blah." Reading this, he's also very critical of Biden. Like he's brings up his misspeaks or his how he sometimes sounds like a dumbass kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that. Is like okay, and even some of the things like Biden saying Obama fucked up on this. Can't believe he didn't do this. Kind of almost like the things that a
Really?
president probably wouldn't want to everyone to know he said because
Yeah.
all of his stuff I can listen to him talk about. He does like multiple hours of interviews with people he's talking about in the book, and anything that's in there, he will double fact check it from multiple sources to make sure it was an actual thing that happened. So I love Bob Woodward. I recommend anyone who
Okay.
is somewhat interested in that and wants a very in-depth thing when it comes to politics. Read a Bob Woodward book. They're pretty good. This new
Nice.
one's pretty good so far.
Okay. Cool. That definitely sounds interesting, man. Sounds like that's some good stuff to be taking in right now, especially in a time like this. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah. It's almost calming too with everything that's going on. I was like, oh, okay, because you go past all the political ads, all the news pundits, and this is more just like you. It's almost like you're just actually listening to them as people instead of just what they want you to what they
yeah,
want you to think they are, and then also what the news or people want you to think they are. Just like, okay, this is how they are.
yeah. Well, and that's how it should be, man. I mean, it's become such a shit show, and like literally like a sideshow. Like it's just like the debates is just like it's gotten to name calling now.
Mhm.
Um, and it I don't know. It's just ridiculous. Like I didn't tune into a single debate this year. I heard that the Walls and Vance was actually pretty decent. Like their
Yeah,
you know attitudes and stuff during it were actually pretty professional and so I mean I think that I can assume what Trump's and Harris's was. I'm sure she laughed a couple times, and I'm sure Trump said that what she said wasn't true. And so
it
yeah, I
was
don't know.
wild.
Yeah.
I watched them all. I watched both the Biden Trump one, Harris Trump one, and the Walls Vance one. The Harris Trump one was wild. It was wild.
Yeah. Well, and it's just a lot of from what I've gathered, there's shit that she's saying she's going for now that she wasn't before, and so there's just I don't know. I don't even know that I want to delve into that.
Yeah, we don't
I
have to
think
get
that
too into it.
that's the juice of normal politics. I feel like that happens with every fucking candidate. So,
Yeah,
but yeah. Anyways,
yeah. Also,
um,
been working out more, trying to be healthy.
ooh, all
Yeah,
right. What are you
yeah.
lifting?
Uh, just about everything. I'm trying to incorporate something from the ACFT into every workout day. Like on shoulder days, I've been doing more cleans, like hang
Oh,
cleans and
okay.
stuff to help with the
Those are
power
brutal.
throw. And then today, when I was doing legs, I did the hex bar deadlift, just like 3 repetitions. But before that, I'll do like 5 sets. I try to keep everything like 5 sets of five, except for the whatever at workout exercise I'm doing for the ACFT. I'll just do whatever is comfortable, or like with max deadlift or with deadlift, I have to do three. So I'll just do however many sets of three.
Okay, nice. Yeah, man, like if I'm not working a lot, during the week, then I'll try to like get home and that's one of the first things on the schedule is to freaking slug some pre-workout and then get into a workout. And what I do if I'm able to do it nowadays is Lex is a part of this Jen's Fit group on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like this almost entrepreneur kind of fitness chick that just took off literally from a Facebook group. Now it's like huge. But and she pays through a membership through there. I think it's actually ran through Facebook. So, but she does a new workout like every, I don't know if it's every day. I mean, I think it is. This chick's like it's nuts. We haven't repeated a workout yet. And so before this, we were doing kind of like the beach body stuff, and we would go through the programs on there, which that was cool. Like those workouts were good, but it got really repetitive. Like I did that lift
Hmm.
4 one like several times, and I just got really bored.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like when you do the same shit, like you just your body gets used to those exact same exercises in that pattern. And so like I just felt like it just wasn't doing anything for me anymore. But this Jen's Fit group, man, like she literally implements just new work and new exercises all the time. Like there's always new shit she's bringing into it. And I'm like, what? Like, how did I don't understand her memory bank. I mean, obviously it's all she does. So, um, I'm sure she methodically like plans this shit out, what she's going to do, which that's awesome and stuff. But yeah, dude, and that's her workouts are the best that I've experienced in a long time. Like it's way better than just trusting myself to go to a gym and to hit this and hit that and to try to do it myself. I really like following someone else's like plan, especially on a video online. I think it's
Hmm.
super easy. But yeah, so like if I do get the time to work out, it's usually doing that. But hang on, I gotta let my psychotic cat in. Okay, she's in. I'm sure it won't be 10 minutes until she's trying to bite my fingers off.
I
But
got you.
anyways,
Well, that actually
yeah.
gives me an
So
idea for what we could talk about tonight. So we'll come back to that. It's about working out and exercise and stuff. You want to get into newer music? I was thinking since we technically have three playlists, I wrote down my highlights from the past three because I didn't want to
okay,
get into every single album because there was some that was like meh. Uh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, sure. Yeah, we got a shit ton to get into, so let's do it, man. Oh, before we do that though, I've got to hype up my band's EP coming out. I just checked out some mixes that we got back from the dude who's handling that, and I'm just super pumped, man. So go check out Dejector if you do have the time. This new stuff is way better than our older stuff, as so says every musician ever. So, but yeah, look forward to it. I don't know when it's dropping yet, but keep you
What's the
updated.
name of it?
Anyways, so the EP is going to be called Oblation Husk,
Okay. And what's
and
the release date?
don't know yet.
Okay.
Not it's still undecided. So yeah, it's still very fresh. Um, we're getting mixes back now, kind of sending back our input on that, and then it will be mastered, and then yeah, then we'll get to pick whenever we're dropping that and everything. But yeah, heard it here first. So
All right.
I'm definitely
Nice.
hyped about it, man. Um, and maybe I'll send you a track sometime just to see what get your opinion on it.
We could even put that in the if you have a in wave form, we could even put it in the episode.
Yeah, that'd be
Little
tight too,
sneak
man.
peek.
Yeah, for sure. But
All
yeah,
right.
let's dive into these playlists, dude.
Yeah, we got a lot. I'm gonna start with my it's one of the older it's the oldest playlist that we have to talk about, but it was the one of the albums that stuck out the most for me and I listened to it a lot. And that was the new album by Vomit Forth, Terrified of God. I
Mm,
love this
okay.
album. Um I've seen mixtures of people saying like it's somewhere between deathcore and death metal, and I kind of see that because it has that more brutal heaviness and chaoticness of regular death metal, but there is almost a little bit of breakdownishness with deathcore.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like whenever they do the breakdowns, it's not like the focus. Like you don't really care too much about the breakdowns. At least I'm not. I'm like I want to get back into the verses. His vocals are gnarly. The songs are gnarly. Uh, I think the top songs I remember would probably be I think it was Sacred Apple. Now I got to pull up the tracks.
Yeah, man, this
Yes.
album was pretty sweet. I remember it being a highlight on this that week's playlist as well.
Hmm.
I like personally my favorite track from that was Negative Penance.
Hmm.
Not only for the song itself, which I thought was really good, but I love that title. That is just a fucking badass title, I think, man. And I like how this dude kind of uh there's a little bit of clarity in his screams. Like he gets really brutal as shit sometimes, but I feel like, the clarity is really intentional. And sometimes you hear those titles like come through in his verbiage. So
Hmm.
I think that's pretty sick. But yeah, man, this was a fun album.
Yeah, and I want to say, if I remember right, all the songs are actually relatively short. Where the album just kind of you just kind of go so fast through the album. I don't think there's a song on this that's more than 3 minutes until like the closer. It's an
Mhm.
awesome album. I've listened to it several times during that week because that was the album I just kept going back to. That was my favorite one. Um,
Absolutely, man. I did want to highlight an album from this play that week's playlist, which was Oranssi Pazuzu.
yes, I have them
And
on here too.
yeah, so these dudes, they're wild, man. This is just a crazy band. And I'm always trying to give this band a shout out to like any of my metal music friends because it's just I think that they are just truly unique. There's no one out there like them. Um, they are very psychedelic, very heavy psychedelic, and very just nasty black metal. But it's almost it they almost steer away from black metal. Like they maintain the black metal vibe with I think the vocals most prominently. That's the most dominant kind of black metal thing going on in that band. But the music definitely gets into like these psychedelic breaks and shit like that, and they just kind of wander, like their
Mhm.
sound is just it's weird. It's weird, but it's I don't know. I've always liked it, man. I've always really liked it. This album, Moon Tatuja, I don't know. I don't know where
Common
this band's
spelling.
from. Clearly, yeah, clearly not American. If they were, man, I'd be surprised. But it's a solid, fun listen, dude. And I always tell like my metal buddies, if you've got the time, just sit through this. Like it's a trip, and all their albums are like that, and this one is no different. It's just a whole weird ride the entire way through. Um, but it they always keep my interest, man, and I really liked it. I think with this one, they definitely kind of got more electronic than they have in the past. It sounded like to me, um, and I don't know that I favored this album more than their previous releases, but I'm still just a really big fan of this band. But yeah, so that was one I wanted to highlight. Oranssi Pazuzu, Munta Tuja, or something.
Yeah, that was a good one. And they're doing something I do like is creating that more experimental black metal, not just doing the same old stuff, and also not
Yeah,
kind of doing their own thing to where like I would almost put them in the same realm as like Imperial Triumphant or maybe Deathspell Omega. They don't sound like those bands, but
yeah,
they're almost like they're their own version of their own black melt where uh Death Spell is more like the technical, philosophical, Imperials, jazzy. This is just kind of everything weird kind of stuff, and it still works
yeah.
good. So yeah, that was a good one. Um, Another
Uh,
one I have from that week is I went into this album skeptical, and that was the album Will to Power by Crucifixion.
hmm.
This was
I
a
did not make it to
surprise.
that one. I didn't make it to that one. It looked interesting to me, but it just for some reason I skipped past that on the playlist. I was really hyped on Oranzi Pazuzu to get that one in, so which followed that on the playlist order. So yeah, I skipped this. I don't know what was I missing.
Imagine it's modern production, but imagine old school deathcore, but like I
Ooh,
would say like Infinite Death EP from Dyar's Murder Vocals.
oh,
And
okay.
it's just like it's pretty much all highs, and it's actually like a banger. I was surprised, but someone brought
Hell
back
yeah.
old school versions of deathcore, and it's essentially almost straight up like a 2005, but newer production, same whole like almost like Whitechapel, some actophile like lyrics and stuff like that. But
Oh, okay. Brutal.
it was actually very good. It was very surprising, and it was surprising to me because I never heard of this band. The picture was, I guess, it's a solo project by this dude who looks like he's dresses as a vampire, like a cyber vampire kind of dude. So I was like, all right, I don't know what this is going to be about, but it was
Wow.
very good. Check out
Okay.
Crucifixion, Will to Power.
Yeah, not to be. I feel like how is that not already a metal band name, by the way? But I see that they spell this Cruci, and then like the word fiction,
Mm-hmm.
Fiction. So I would almost be willing to say that uh, there's got to be another metal band, Crucifixion, but like the regular or
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
classical
there probably
crucifixion
is, but
terminology,
it's probably
right?
one of those things
Gotta
to where
be.
it's like, yeah, it's probably one of those things where it's like, well, you know what, no one knows about them, so I'm gonna make my call my band
Yeah,
that too. So, because I feel like there's
make
a
their
whole
own.
lot of
Yeah,
bands with the same name.
true. That
Uh,
definitely does happen. But
Only other thing from that week's playlist, there were some ones I was excited about, but ended up not being too interested in. But there was one track from that week, and that was Hope Terminator by Cytotoxin. I mean, you got
fuck
to
yeah,
give it up
dude.
to Cytotoxin.
Absolutely, dude. This track is like, I was so glad to hear this band come out again, and like they just fucking hit the nail on the head. Like this track, dude, it's just so damn technical, just so tight, um, flawless, man. And it's just they're back, heavy as shit again. Did not disappoint. And I'm so sad and torn because they're coming to Wichita, Kansas, or sorry, Lawrence. They're going to be playing at the Bottleneck on November 16th. And
Is it that close?
yes, dude. Yeah, it's a
Ah,
fucking couple
I
weeks
thought it was
away.
February. Ah, damn. That's
Yeah, I'm
that's gonna be
devastated.
tough.
It's
That's the
tough for
first
me
day of
because
deer
it's
season, isn't it?
yeah, yes, that's exactly why it's tough for me. It's like super redneck of me, but I'm
Ah,
just like, oh fuck, it's opening deer season day, dude. Oh, come on, guys. And like this is cytotoxin, man. They're from fucking Austria or not even Austria. No, or where are they from? Russia
I
or
think Germany.
Germany? Okay, it might be. Yeah, it might be Germany. Yeah, somewhere over there. But anyway, so it's like I know that they're not going to tour here a lot, and they're the headliner on the bill, and I think they even have some interesting openers. I don't think they're up to par, on the level of cytotoxin, but I still think that it's going to draw a crowd, man. And it's just like, I'm just absolutely devastated. So I don't know. I'm thinking that because I'm going to go out hunting, bow hunting before rifle season, and I'm thinking that if I arrow a deer and I can get some meat in the freezer before rifle season opens, I'm almost going to be willing to sacrifice that day at least to go see cytotoxin. I don't know.
I got you.
What's
I
your
don't know.
thoughts? What's holding you up on making that one?
Because I don't have a bow, so that is my opening day for me.
Oh, that is okay. Yeah, that is your
Yeah,
only day, huh?
yeah,
Damn,
and it's one of
it's
those
tough.
things where it's like I don't know because is that a Sunday? I can't remember, or is that what
Saturday.
day? Eh.
So it's perfect day of the weekend. You know what I mean?
So my only thinking is I would probably still wake up that morning, but I'm worried if I got one, I wouldn't be able to like get everything taken care of before I could had to leave
Process
for the
it.
concert.
Yeah. If conditions are good, then technically you could shoot one that morning. And if it stays 55 degrees or lower that day, then you can let it hang. You can let it hang and bleed out for like 24 hours, as long as it doesn't go above 55 degrees, because they say that that's when bacteria begins to set in. So,
Yeah, but I know I'm not that lucky. I know that has all
yeah.
those conditions have to be right.
Yeah, and like I could just imagine, it's gonna get to fucking 80 degrees that day or some stupid shit like that. So I don't know, man.
It's already gonna
I
be hard.
mean, could shoot one if you have a processor nearby, you could shoot one early, take it to the processor, and Kansas, and that's what sucks. It's like Lawrence, shit, that's like a 4 hour drive for me. I don't know about you where you're at, but
I think it's 2.5, maybe 3 for me. Because technically, I
oh,
really
okay.
just have to get on one
So you're
highway,
more
and
up
then it's a
north, huh?
straight. No, I'm southwest, but there's just one straight shot highway that I just have to get on, and that'll take me
Oh,
straight there. To where you had to go
okay.
like all these back roads to
Yeah,
eventually get to 70.
right. Hmm. It's a conundrum for sure,
Yeah.
but absolutely devastated. But yeah, anyways, Cytotoxin Hope Terminator. This is building up to their next album that's about to release here soon. I can't remember the name of it, but we'll get there whenever. I'm sure they got more singles coming at us. So yeah, I look forward to that. But anyways, that was absolutely my favorite highlight of that week's playlist.
Hell yeah. So that was it for that week. Then we got this. Do you have any others from that week that you want to talk about?
All right, I do not, man. The rest
I
was
got
pretty
you.
much, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Up the next week after that, we have the new album from. You might have heard of this band. We talked about them a couple weeks ago. They asked us to review one of their songs, and that song was on this new album, Wormtails, by the Norwegian band. I think it was Carnosus.
Hell yeah, dude.
Uh, you gotta check out these guys. They're good at everything they do: vocals, drums, guitar. Everything is a great package. The artwork is cool. The songs are cool. What was the one that stuck out? Within Heart, Within. Now I gotta look it up.
Sweden, by the way,
Oh,
but
Sweden.
yeah, within throat, within heart.
Yes. Yeah, and then also Yearnings of the Rotten Spine. I remember that one sticking out. Check out
Hmm.
this band. They're gonna need some attention. Uh, check them out. They're worth your time.
Dude, yes, this album absolutely kicks ass. And I hate to like compare bands and do that whole thing, but these guys are summoning the Lich, but from a different country. And
Mm-hmm.
they're kind of, and not to knock on either of the bands. I both think both of those bands are phenomenal. Um, but just as a, quick comparison, they're kind of doing similar things. And so, but Carnosus, man, I'm obsessed with this vocalist. He is
Mm-hmm.
one of the modern day vocalists that's really catching my fucking attention because
Mm-hmm.
he's very unique and he's not doing just like a duo or a vocal style in two different kind of vocals in two different kind of styles, but like he's like doing three. Like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like you hear like this like high mid sort of level that he hits, and then you kind of get this like weird deep low, kind of like again in the vein of Summoning the Lich, but then he also goes to like this ridiculous intense high, and so but in his there's no like knowing when his fluctuations are going to come in, and so like for
Mm-hmm.
that it's also a lot like Cryptopsy. Again, Matt McGotchy, same shit. It's just I love that unexpected change, and it
Mm-hmm.
just totally throws me for a loop. Really gets my attention, man. And this album, fucking phenomenal. One song I wanted to highlight from it, Paradoxal Impulse. I don't think that was a single, but it's a banger, dude. It jams. Very good album though. Definitely was happy with that one.
Absolutely. Check out these guys, Carnosus.
Hmm.
Um, there was one other full album from that week that I want to talk about. It's not that I super loved it; it was just super surprising. That was the new album Swallow the Sun Shining. Um,
Mm.
what do you think of this album?
I liked it, man. But it definitely sounded more like kind of mainstream Swallow the Sun. I think that I noticed also the loss of the screamer. It sounds like
Mm-hmm.
he's not in the band anymore. And I don't know if I remember that member swap or change when it happened, but I think you can clearly listen to this album and tell that he's no longer there, or it's someone else doing the high screams. Definitely sounds different than the album Firelights
Hmm.
that they had a couple of years back, handful of years back. But that was just, I was a sucker for that album, and so like that's up on a throne to me, in my opinion, with Swallow the Sun. I was totally moved by that one, and so yeah, man, this one just unfortunately fell short for me. But I did like that, they still had some catchy hooks and uh and stuff like that. So, I it's still a good listen. I was glad to hear this band come back. It was faster than than the Swallow the Sun that I listened to before. It seemed more upbeat than that like Firelights album, whereas that Firelights is just kind of slow drag, but it's or slow burn, but it's really good still. So I don't know. What'd you think of this one, man?
I didn't mind it. It was still good, but at the same time, I remember listening to it. It was like, this is not what I remember. And I even went back to that Firelights album. I was like, this is completely different. It feels like
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, like the old one is like it had a very grand feeling. Like Opeth is a very grand band, but this felt even more like uh just kind of take you on a journey, kind of proggish kind of stuff. This feels
Mm-hmm.
like somewhere between if you combined Opeth with Ghost. It felt even the
Yeah.
vocals felt very ghost like. And like you said, I don't think we heard screams until like the second or third song, and it's this vocals all around to me sound completely different on this album. It's not a bad album by any means. It's just when I saw Swallow the Sun came out with a new album, I got very excited because I loved that previous album. But it wasn't what
Yeah.
I liked this band for. So but yeah, if anyone's interested in checking out Swallow the Sun's new album Shining, kind of that progginess with a little bit of, like I said, ghost flavor now introduced. Check it out; it's pretty good. Um,
Absolutely, man.
the only other thing I have from that week is was probably my favorite EP of this of the year, and uh, even if someone else comes out another pretty good EP, I doubt it'll be better than this one. That's the new EP, "Nothing Above" by Disentomb. I love this
Hell
EP.
yeah. Yeah. It's brutal, dude. It's short. It's only 4 tracks, but it's to the point, man. It's brutal as hell, as heavy as, Disentomb's ever been. And also features Job for a Cowboy. And he fits great, man. I love the song No God Unconquered. And it's just a harsh ass EP. Like it's just super brutal. I think the theme is just so gnarly. Um, but a really fun listen, dude. I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. And I do like because they remember when they announced that they're saying that their new album that they're coming out with soon ish is going to be more experimental, and that's what the CP is supposed to do, help bridge that their previous stuff to this, so it's not as jarring of a change. And I can kind of see, and it
Mm,
almost says, I think you brought it up a few episodes ago. There is a little bit of Sun Eater vibes when it comes to Disentomb's more recent stuff, and I do think they are going more towards Job for a Cowboy's route of the kind of adding more of that proggy technicalness, like the weird trippy kind of stuff. But it's with still
yeah,
with the Disentombs flavor. So I'm very interested to see what they do, and hopefully, I like you said, you brought up Johnny Davies on this from Job for a Cowboy. I would love to have them do more stuff together. Just like
yeah,
when Full of Hell and Primitive Man did a collaboration album together, I would love to see Job for a Cowboy and Disentomb do that. I think that would be great. But you never
absolutely,
know.
dude. Hell yeah. Solid EP though, man. I wanted to highlight an album on this week's playlist, and this was Escuela Grind's new release. Um, let me get the album track here. Sorry. Dreams on Algorithms, that's right. And it starts
Yes.
off banging with DOA, and then into, I think, my favorite single and favorite track on this whole album, Always Watching You. God damn, that song is just a fucking banger, man. And I think particularly for the vocalist Patterns. She just nails some badass rhythms in this song. And then you get into Constant Passenger, the following song, with a feature from, the one and only Vincent from Acacia Strain. And so that was great and awesome to hear. I felt like he was low in the mix, and I was
Yes.
kind of, I was kind of saddened by that. I really wanted that prominent Vincent, but even her vocals are kind of, in the middle area on this album. They're not really up on the forefront and clear. It's a banger. It's a constant riff, and the whole album, I feel like, this band's very heavy on the palm mutes, man. They're a heavy chug band,
Hmm.
and but what I like is it's not just a typical. It's just not a typical deathcore or death metal album. I think the drummer deserves a highlight because I feel like with some of the riffs that he's being presented on the guitars, he just doesn't really do what you would expect. Like, he's blasting to a jin like type kind of shit, you know what I mean? So it's it threw me for a loop a couple times, but I really enjoyed it. My favorite, I have like kind of a list of songs that I really liked. Always Watching You, number one for sure. But Concept of God's good. Scorpion, brutal as hell. Um, Toothless, which was another single. I think that's a really good song. Kind of weird lyrics, but whatever. And Turbulence. They end with Turbulence, and it's such a weird song, but I've grown to kind of love that one. And she kind of like does this weird singy thing. Yeah, but it's just uh take me out of this plane. There's gonna be turbulence. And it's just like, I don't know. It's so weird, but at the same time, I found myself singing it after I heard it. So it's just like, it's one of those things that's just like, oh, well, I mean, there's some music gold in there. I mean, they were able to embed themselves in my brain. So I don't know. I really liked it, man. It's a gnarly album. I kind of think that I would like to hear some more variation on the vocals if I'm gonna get nitpicky with it, But I don't know. Aside from that, dude, badass album cover though.
Hmm.
Absolutely love the album cover. I think it looks so sick. Um, Fun album though. I really enjoyed it. What do you think of it?
So I'm probably going to come back to this album because you brought up what my issues were when I first started listening to it. It was so the first three songs, like DOA was a brand new song to me. And then it was someone was throwing me off with their vocals, and you kind of hit it on the head. It feels like she's kind of buried a little bit. Like you can hear, but she's not as
Hmm.
powerful as I think she should sound. Always Watching You, I
Yeah.
already kind of heard that before. It's like, okay, yeah, this is a good song. But I was super excited to get to that third song, that Vincent Bennett
Yeah.
feature that comes on. I was like, all right, cool. Where's Vincent? Where's Vincent? And then he comes in, and it was just, I felt so let down because it was like, this is like the quietest I've ever heard him on the track. So
Yeah.
that kind of was like, all right, I don't know if I'm going to be too into this, but at the same time, I think it was just my expectations at that time. So I think it was just an album I need to get back to because all the ingredients are there for me to like it. But I think it was just
Hmm.
my expectations at that time. It's just like, well, also I that was when I drove to Dexter, so I was up at 3 in the morning. It's like, all right, let's just get to the point. And then it's like, all right,
Yeah.
this isn't Vincent, where are you, man? And then it's like, all right,
I
let me go to
know.
the next album. But yeah, this is an album I'll have to get back into because, like you said, all the ingredients are there for me. Like this is all the things that I like. So I need to actually sit down with a cleansed palate and not expectations of what I think it's going to sound like. Just let it happen, kind of thing. So
Word. I get that, man, for sure. Yeah, that it I hate to dog it, but yeah, man, that Vincent feature was just, it's a little sad. A little sad.
yeah, I think maybe
Need a little bit
if
more
I look into
Vince.
the lyrics, maybe I was like, okay, yeah, his feature's great,
Right.
but
To make him out a little bit more. Yeah.
yeah, but hearing it the first time, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
it was a letdown for me because I remember I was waiting. You could tell it's coming up, and then it comes. It's like this is not what I was wanting. So, but again, that's on
Yeah.
me. That was just my expectations. So now that I know, I'll have to go back into it and give it an honest run through. So,
Hell yeah.
do you have anything
Word.
else from that week?
No, I didn't. I'll shout out Slaughter to Prevail's new release, Behelit, just because they're on there. I watched the video and yeah, I mean it's Slaughter to Prevail. I don't know that I heard anything that was very grabbing to me. Um, I think he does some cool vocal stuff in this one though. He hits like his cleans are weird because he doesn't have perfect English, but I don't know if that's just me being a fucking American. It's just like but I don't know, man. It was interesting, and I still love that dude because of his fucking the lows that he can reach is just
Mhm.
there's no one else like him. So for those reasons, I got to give him a shout out. I'm looking forward to their new album. I will listen to that. So, but anyways, yeah, that was probably it for me for that week.
I gotcha. So that moves us on to our most recent one, which I don't know how much fun it is going to be for everyone else. But for this week's playlist, there's really only one album that for me overshadowed everything else because I've
Mm,
listened to it. Came out last Friday. So, what, 5 days ago, 4 days ago?
hmm
And I've already listened to it every day, all the way through every day because I love this album. And that is the new album, Highly Irresponsible by Better Lovers.
mm.
This was for me, this was a banger, unexpected
Oh
banger because I
shit.
did not like any of the singles. And then it comes out, I was like, this is fucking great. Um,
Damn.
yeah, it's because I think like I said with a Squaler Grind, I had expectations. So when Better Lovers announced who the members were, it's three members every time I die and Greg Puciato from Dillinger. I thought, oh, this is gonna sound just like every time I die, just with his vocals. But really listening to it is like, oh, this is its own different beast. It's like there's a little bit of every time I die riffage. Greg shines through. He Listening to this, it makes me realize how great of a vocalist he is. But he doesn't make it about himself. And one thing I always forget is Will Putney's also in this band, and
Oh shit.
from Fit for an Autopsy, and it kind of shines through in the opening track, "Lie Between the Lines," I think it's called, because that's a very
Okay.
Fit for an Autopsy style riff. I think everything
Interesting.
gels together in this album. Top tracks for me on this would be A White Horse Covered in Blood, Future Myopia, Drowning in a Burning World, Superman Died Paralyzed, and Love as an Act of Rebellion. These, I love this album. What do you think of this
That's
one?
hilarious. I'm gonna bring sadness into your world, but I this was the one that I did not get to, man. I felt like I knew that I was going to get to it, but I was so hyped for one release on this week that I kind of stayed with that release and didn't really move around at all, to be honest.
I gotcha.
Um, and that release for me was the Entheos EP, An
I
End to
gotcha.
Everything.
Yeah, I was trying to scroll. I was like, which one's it going to be?
hmm Yeah, and I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, but I think it's great, man. This is my favorite Entheos. It's only 4 tracks, and so it's not that long. Or sorry, 5 tracks. But it's not that long. It's only like I want to say 19 minutes in total, or something like that. So I mean, you get modern day albums with only 30, 10 minutes after that. So really, relatively, it's not crazy short by any means, but just killer fucking material, dude. But um, I love the music, but I think the vocals the most. Like Cheney Crab, dude, she's just such a badass metal vocalist, and a chick at that, so that's even cooler. But her fucking squeals or breeze, whatever you want to call them, like the song, I think it's All for Nothing. Um, Double checking real quick. No, it's Life in Slow Motion, but it kind of starts out with this like and so it's just like it's killer, dude. It's just like the squeal that it opens up with is like, oh, chef's kiss. It's like it's just so good on the ears, man. I love it, and that's like the kind of vocal that I chase to hear, and so those squeals, dude. I will go back to this EP just to hear those, and so I loved it, man. Favorite tracks, and Into Everything. Um, shit, lost the playlist. I don't know. They're all pretty good, really. The whole EP front to back, I think, is as its own whole piece. It's easy to listen to. Life in Slow Motion, though, that's that one opens up with the ripping Brie squeal, whatever. And then Return to Me, the ending track is it's gnarly as hell too. Even some elements of like the Faceless in there, guitars almost, and which I think on I think this band has Evan Brewer on bass, which is former
Ooh,
Faceless, so that would make sense. Yeah.
yeah, I do
Um,
love Evan Brewer.
Yeah, man. So, definitely worth a listen if you haven't checked that one out yet. It was a ripper. But yeah,
Yeah, that was the only other full release I listened to all the way through. Because like I
nice.
said, I spent most of my time with Better Lovers. Everything else I did listen to a good chunk of it just to get a feel for it. Entheos I did
Hmm.
like. I would say the highlight for me was her vocals. Uh, she because like you said, she can has great highs, great lows. I didn't care too much though for the clean vocals, but it's just my personal taste. And I think I was working at the time. I was like, I don't really want clean singing right now, but it was good. It was very surprising because I think I've talked about a couple episodes ago. I'm not. I've always kind of thought Entheo never listened too much to Entheos because I always thought they were some gent band, and I'm kind of tired of
Mm.
gent bands. But they're not really that. Almost like a technical. I don't know. Would you call it metalcore, or just tech metal, or what would you call it?
I don't know, man. I think I'd go prog, tech prog gent. It's almost kind of a trio. I would throw some gent in there because they definitely got some gentiness going on. They're not like
Yeah,
as groove ridden, but there's definitely gent elements, I think. I don't know.
yeah, there's a little bit, but I think that's my issue with most gent bands is that they only focus on the gent sound that brown,
Hmm.
to where this is more is like you said, it's a lot of technicality going on. It's like, and that's what I makes it more interesting, more flavorful. I know that's kind of my issues with some of the other when gent became a big thing. That's what everyone wanted to do, just like get a 9 string guitar and just strum on that low string.
Yeah, I know. Only use the top two, no doubt.
Yeah, I didn't realize that this was going to be an EP. I was kind of confused. I thought it was just another new single, but then I saw they had already released that song, and that was the name of this EP. So, oh
Hmm.
yeah. So hopefully that means they also have more music coming out soon for like a full length. I'm assuming. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Because when was their last full length? Was it last year or the year before?
Yeah, I think it was about a year. I don't know. Yeah, it might have been. It was a year or two ago, but I don't remember exactly. I will say this one catched my interest more than that one did, though. This is, I think, the best Entheos that I've heard. My favorite Entheos. So, I think they're on the right track, man. I think I thought it was really good. Um, some other releases. The other one I found interesting that I think I need to go back and give a re-listen is the release from Gyria or Garia, however you pronounce
Yes.
this. This is the album Coma that they just dropped, and this was really good, man. Like I can't, I don't know. I wasn't in the mood for this when it came on, and so I kind of skipped over it, but then I just kind of let my Spotify play on its own, and it just kind of brings up random songs. Well, it brought up a Guerilla song from this album today, and I was like, "Damn, what is this?" Well, it was Guerilla, and they're gnarly, man. They definitely are gnarly. I love the vocals. Um, they got some post metal guitars going on for sure, with that, constant tremolo picking type shit. But then the drums is lots of blast to complement those tremolos and the post metal vibes. But I definitely think this is a band more for drummers because like it's very drum ridden, and I don't know. I guess I'm saying that because I think that the drummer almost sounded like to be the most I don't know, not most talented out of all of them, but he's just doing all kinds of shit. I'm just like, oh my God, these drums are nuts. Like that's just what caught my attention. I just listened to all the change ups during this album of what I did listen to it, and it deserves a listen, man. It was definitely good tunes, but definitely something I need to be in the mood for with those like kind of post metal elements. That's just not what
Hmm.
my typical go to is. But I'd say in the vein, music wise, kind of Deaf Heavenish.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the vocals, but kind of that sort of realm. Did you check this one out?
I did. I only checked out a few songs though, because like I said, I was still some about Better Lovers. I kept wanting to go back to it, but I did like it. The only thing that kind of threw me off it was though, when they dropped the singles, because I think they came out with two at the same time. I really loved those, but in the context of the album, I didn't like them as much. So that kind of threw me off. It's like, eh. But I do think I need to go back to this because I do. I think, like you said, it's one of those. It's you have to be in the right mood for it to hit
Mhm.
exactly right. And I think this band is very good. I think they're very interesting. I did like this album better than some of the other albums that were on this week's playlist.
Mm,
But like I said, Better Lovers kind of overshadowed a lot of things for me. So it's like I wanted to go back to that. If something wasn't fully catching my attention, I wanted to go back to Better Lovers.
for
Um,
sure. Fair enough.
the only other thing I have for this is the single "Accelerating the Rot" by Defeated Sanity. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
they
Interesting.
are they are cranking out singles for this upcoming album. It seems like
Yeah, they
so.
are. Are they dropping them like weekly now? It seems
I
like,
it seems like it. I don't know if they're
or is it every 2 weeks, maybe?
I don't know, but it feels almost like every week is like, oh, another Defeated Sanity song's out. We got to put it on the playlist.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Maybe they like uh forgot to promote this album. It's like, oh shit, we got to get these singles out before this album drops.
Yeah. Yeah.
Build
I
some
don't know.
hype.
Yeah. I mean, I could be wrong too. It could be longer than that. Maybe I'm just not paying enough attention. But this single was really interesting. Not like a typical like slam or death metal song. Like it opens up very kind of mathy, right? I mean, it seems like there's a lot of math in there.
Yeah,
And I was really thrown off by it. I was like, what is this? Like as soon as they got into it. But again, it's very similar to that last track they released where they like open up with that rhythm and that guitar and the fucking drums are just kind of like back and forth trying to fuck with your ears and throw you off of the beat. And it's just like, you motherfuckers, come on. But no, this was I thought more interesting and yeah, I don't know. I'm hyped for this album, so I
yeah,
thought it was a cool sound.
yeah. It's gonna be pretty good. Um, do you have anything else from this week's playlist? Nothing really else. Uh, got me excited. Although I think there's only two other albums and a single.
Yeah,
There's
I mean, I
just
think for metal's sake, we probably should highlight the new Fist for an Autopsy album. I don't know. I like the music, but honestly, I think that the I'm kind of lacking on the cap. It's not like capturing me like this
mhm.
band has before. So I don't know. I kind of moved on, man. And another unfortunate, um, not disappointment. I feel like that's a harsh word for it, but uh, fell short. Was the Cradle of Filth single? I was really hoping that they would just kind of come out and give me really catchy, classic Cradle of Filth. Like I kind of want Cradle of Filth to come out with like they probably hate hearing this, but like I want them to release another song like Nymphetamine to capture me like Nymphetamine did. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
just like, but I just don't know that we're ever going to get that again. But I don't know. I guess I was really hyped on this one. It just kind of fell short for me. Did you listen to
Yeah.
that one?
I did. I listened to it today. I don't know. The only thing I really liked about it was Halloween's in a few days, so it gave me that spooky
Yeah, right.
season. But that was about it.
Spooky vibes.
It
Yeah.
felt very much just paint by numbers. It just felt like calculated. It didn't really feel like you said, it doesn't have the hooks. It doesn't have any like really captivating parts. It's just like here's a song kind of thing. Here's now. Did he ever do his signature like the high scream?
Yeah. Well, like he does it in the song, but I felt like it was just forced into it. Like it's almost like in a backing vocal spot. And I think that he does it in a couple times, but it just seems like it's forced. It doesn't really sound like it's almost natural, but I don't know. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll still listen to this album when it comes out. I just hopefully we got some better singles on the way.
yeah.
But
And I don't know. I'm more of the I love the album Godspeed on Devil's Thunder. I wish they would
mm,
kind of go back to that sound. That's the album I like by them. So I wish they would go back to that sound. But I don't know. Cause I think I even bought Hammer of the Witch. I bought it, then I listened to it, was like, man, I don't know. I feel like they're just kind of doing whatever now, just like, man, doing stuff what's comfortable. It's not the same stuff that I loved. So I don't know.
mm,
We'll see what the new album brings.
for sure. Well,
Yeah.
I shit, are we caught up? I think we're caught up.
Yeah, that's it. There was one I was wanting to highlight. However, when I first heard it, I was like, oh yeah, this is great. I'm going to talk about this on the podcast. But then some other things happened. I was like, ooh, that defeats the whole thing I was going to talk about. I was going to highlight the new As I Lay Dying song. And I was going to say,
Oh,
they're back. They're
this is
back.
a good subject for metal news, though. This is a great time to bring up some metal news because they're taking the headlines by storm.
Oh, yeah. So what it was what the last episode, the episode before that, they came out with like that brutal song with David Simonak
Yeah.
and was Alex Terrible
No, it
on it?
was no, it was Alex Terrible and Tom Barber, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. It
Yeah.
was those two. It's like, damn, this is fucking heavy for As I
Where
Lay
or wait,
Dying.
no, did he have a song with Alex Terrible? I think he did, didn't he?
I don't know.
I
Now
don't
I
know
need to
that I
look
can
at it.
look it up now. Yeah. I think they did release a song with Alex Terrible. I can't remember. But I thought it was I don't know why I'm thinking Tom Barber and who did I just say? I think they pulled
Alex Terrible
I
and
think
Tom Barber. We Are the
yeah,
Dead.
okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they came out with that, and I was like, oh shit, they got heavy. And then they
Hmm.
came out with this most recent song, Whitewashed Tomb. And my thinking was like, because we've talked about before, Esley Dying's kind of been like, who cares? It's the same stuff over and over again. But once We
Hmm.
Are Dead came out, and then Whitewashed Tomb was like, ah, they're back. I care about them more. They're back in relevancy. And
Yeah.
then
The
uh,
whole band quits.
the whole band quits, and it's just Tamlin Beezus. And from what I've been seeing, their main citation for quitting is because what was it? Lack of
Mental
morals.
health. Or yeah, something like
So
that.
there's like some moral issues going on. And then also I saw Shaped in the Fire, their album from like 2019 or whatever, is no longer on Spotify.
Yeah, pulled from all streaming services. I was like, damn, that's crazy.
So I have a theory. Um,
Let's hear it.
so as lay dying, like that news that the album wasn't on any of the streaming services came out. It was everywhere. And I saw As Lay Dying posted that don't worry. It was just that the contract with that album, or that the album that the record that the album was on ran out. So now we fully own it and we'll put it back up soon. And my thinking is, okay, well, I'm wondering if possibly this would tie everything together. So Jordan Mancino was the other original member, the drummer, with Tim
Hmm.
Lambesis. They were the two original members. He quit after that album came out, and I'm wondering if the moral integrity they're having an issue with is there he was maybe planning on doing that and then making sure Jordan Mancino didn't get any cut, even though he performed on all that album. I'm wondering if maybe they're trying
Huh.
to make it to where he doesn't get any of the money. It's just my
Interesting.
thinking.
Yeah, that is, I mean, it's interesting. I don't know. I mean, or uh, who knows? But I think someone on Facebook said that he can't wait for the documentary to come out on this. And I'm like, dude, yes. Like there, after all this shit and all the headlines that this dude has been on, I think we are owed a fucking SLA dying documentary. Like the
VH1
truth.
Behind the Music needs to come back just for this,
Yes.
just
Just
for
for this
Tim
fucking band.
Lambesis' career.
Yeah. Dude, absolutely, man. I mean, it's getting pretty damn ridiculous at this point, but there's got to be some juice behind those curtains, man, you know?
Oh yeah.
Like maybe even steroids juice. Maybe that's the moral issues. Maybe he's like just fucking pumping his ass before the sets, and they're just like, "Nah, I can't take this shit anymore." Apparently, there's one remaining guy, right, who may or may not still be in the band, but
Is
I
it
don't think
Phil?
he's like
Phil Segrasso or whatever?
maybe it's one remaining member that it seems like he's on the fence or hasn't like made a public statement. So I don't know. Maybe he started taking roids with Tim. And so, who knows?
I feel
Who
like
knows?
even so, I thought it was a little crazy that Ryan Neff left, which he was the bassist and singer for Miss May I, which I've always
Oh,
thought of
okay.
as like the newer version of Azalea Dying. So I assume that's like his like idol, and he's finally in that band. But then he just decides to
Yeah,
leave.
that's a bold move. You know how I actually he was one of the first musicians. This is a crazy story. He was one of the first musicians I ever had interaction with, and it was on MySpace, believe it or not. This was fucking like 2010 or some shit like that. Do you know his origins, where he originally came from?
No,
R Rose Funeral.
really,
Yeah. Crucify, kill, rot, like those days, dude. Yeah.
really.
And yes, yeah, dude. Freaking crazy, right? So he came from there. And then I remember they came out with the album after Crucify Kill Rot, which was I don't remember what the hell it was called. But I remember being so hyped about it. I commented on like their MySpace. It's like I'm a kid at that time. I don't even remember. Or or no, I guess it was probably before 2010. I graduated in '09 shit, so it had to have been like early 2000s. But I remember I just made a stupid comment like, "Oh, sick, dude. Now you guys need a music video." And like they reacted and hearted it or something like that. And Ryan Neff, I think I don't know if he no, wait. So I commented that, yeah, they reacted like with a reaction thing. I don't know. I don't even remember what the reaction things were on MySpace. But then I also got on there and kind of trolled because they released band promo pics. And so like they were all just like single headshots and they all just like kind of look cool and badass, but the bassist looked like he was intentionally angry. And so I got on there just to troll and just like, why does the bassist look so pissed or something like that? And I think he messaged me or I messaged him. I don't know. But dude ended up talking to me, man, like in a fucking private DM and shit about like music. It was crazy, crazy story. Like, man, if I had the old messages, I'd pull it up. Like, it was a total fanboy moment. But yeah, man, one of the first musicians I ever had interaction with. It was really cool, really, really cool. But he seemed like a really nice guy. So yeah, but that would probably suck to get in one of the biggest metalcore bands ever, and then drop out because some fucking D-bags running the show, and I don't know. It's just not a good look when it gets to that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of like the new. It's the faceless, like the same shit that they went through with Michael Keane.
Hmm. And didn't
And
Muir have the same issue?
yeah,
All the members left
yeah, but I mean, shit. It seems like he kept that thing together. I mean,
somehow.
I don't know. Yeah, somehow. And he recruited badass musicians. Fuck Joshua
Hmm.
Travis, dude. Legendary guitarist, man, in the metal scene.
Yeah, I'm
Love
pretty
that
sure
dude.
he just grabbed all of Glass Cloud.
Yeah, that was such good tunes.
Yeah, I miss them. I wish they would actually come back together. Because what's Jerry Roush doing anymore?
Yeah. I have no clue, but that was such a great sound, man.
You still blew my mind that Ryan Neff was in uh Rose's funeral.
Yeah, I know. He had like a crazy ass heavy brutal start, and then he kind of went to Miss May. And whenever because I was like I was fanboy following him after, I talked with this dude online and shit, and I was like, oh, keeping tabs, and I literally kept tabs on him. And so like I followed him from the transition to Rose Funeral to Miss May I. He was the only reason I started listening to Miss May I. And that was whenever they released the album, when they kind of donned the whole lion head as their logo. I don't remember what album that was. One of their biggest though.
Monuments, I
Um,
think.
maybe uh, around that 08, 09 era, I want to say, or maybe even 06 or I don't know, somewhere around there. But I was big into World of Warcraft at that time, so I don't know. I just remember that album being on repeat, fucking just, grinding on the computer, playing it. But yeah, dude, pretty crazy.
I got you. Yeah, that's it for new music. We're not gonna do or at least I don't have anyone to talk about when it comes to band requests since I haven't really uh been back to that playlist since obviously we have all this other stuff we've been focusing on. But we'll get back to that next time. Um, yeah, let's talk about some fatherhood stuff, and we're gonna get back to the working out part that you're talking about because I think that can incorporate because I find that is a hurdle. I feel like other dads probably have the same issue, and when it comes to being a father, having kids, especially multiple kids, finding time to exercise, and do you find it how much harder it is? Because also I want to say I don't know how true it is because I heard at the prison, and the person who told me was known for telling me fake facts from time to time. Uh, but Kofer told me about apparently when a man has a child, their testosterone level drops,
Oh, okay.
and it's one of those things where it's a preservation thing, to where females will seek out the males who will actually stay and help rear the kids, kind of thing. Just an evolutionary thing, he claimed. I don't know how true it is, but I can see that being
Yeah.
uh, extra issue when it comes to exercise and health. What issues and hurdles do you have with that when it comes to kids?
Yeah. Just knowing that I know that guy who you're talking about, just it made me crack up laughing because that dude was 50% full of shit. So, but like very intentionally, psychologically, he was always looking to fuck with you. But
Mhm.
anyways, shout out to Kofer. Missed that dude. But yeah, he was also a jacked human being. So any kind of fitness health talk that he would, get on, you definitely wanted to listen to. But this sounds like a believable theory to me. It kind of makes sense. I mean, I feel like as a specimen, you kind of do your deed to pass on your lineage, and once maybe your body senses that that's happened, maybe it just kind of adapts. But I don't know the technicalities behind it or anything like that. But um, as far as trying to maintain health as I've gotten old, it's honestly it hasn't been uh, important to me ever as it has in parenthood. Like whenever I found out we were having Lux is when it really kicked into full swing. I was just like, okay, now this is a full responsibility. Like I worked out before, and Kofer's one of those dudes that really got me going into the gym and to really like initially start grinding and show me kind of the ropes really of working out how it should be done and yada yada. Like I was still abusing my body. I would literally work out with that dude and 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 hit a gas station on my way home after working it out and get a fucking 32-ounce soda. So, I was just probably ruining anything I had done in there. But so like having, the kid, it really set it in, just put it into perspective that I don't know, I donned this like mental attitude that um of how serious life can be. And, this is a living thing that's going to need to rely on me for safety and security. And for those reasons, I wanted to make sure that I would be able to handle my own and, you know, protect my family should the situation ever happen. And so I don't know, man. It got really serious. And I think that first year of her life is whenever I was really, really grinding at it. But then, it kind of slowed down for me. Not intentionally, but it just sort of happened. It's still really important to me. It really is, just as important. But nowadays, I find myself really busy with work, my not just my main job, but my part-time job on top of that. And then, um, I also kind of listened to my last boss, Ben Bass at the Sawmill. He wasn't like a proactive athlete or anything like that, but just a really good guy to talk to. Anyways, uh, I had mentioned to him how I would take vitamins and this and that, yada yada. Um, he was just like, it was just a good mental note. He was I remember one point him being like, vitamins are really only if, you're not taking in the nutrients that you should on a daily basis. If you're not eating the
Mhm.
full meals like you should be, like, and that's true. Like supplements are made if you're not eating a full meal of protein, vegetables, and the nutrients that you receive from those. So yeah, it made sense. I was like, yeah, that is true. And so I just kind of from that moment kind of looked at what I'm eating on a daily basis. And then it just made me think of working out on its own. It's like, and if you're fucking, damn, sorry, but if your job isn't strenuous, if you are at an office desk, on a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, yeah, a workout regimen should probably be implemented into your schedule somewhere. Daily
Mhm.
exercise is, I think, a good necessity. Um, and, just for physical health. But if you have a strenuous job where you're climbing shit or lifting shit on a daily basis, you might not really need to take a workout program that serious. And so that's kind of where I'm finding myself nowadays. I will say my eating habits are off the chain. They are definitely not as tight knit as I would like them to be, but I'm also have two kids under 5, and so trying to manage their, you know, for Lex helps me, manage what they're consuming on a daily basis and stuff like that. But so it's just like, I don't know, man. Just the busyness. I'm letting the busyness kind of overtake my oversight of what I'm eating. So I know that's not the best, but it's what I got to do right now. I can't be as strict on my diet as I would like to be. I will get there again someday. I know that that's such a common thing that anyone can say as an excuse, but right now it's just not in the cards for me. It sounds, whenever you use that term, I feel like that's just a no, that's automatically an excuse of some sort. But I don't know, man. I ain't got the time to kind of fucking meal prep or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I definitely respect it, and I definitely think that the science is behind it. And so yeah, where I'm at now is if I am able to, if I'm not working a lot of side jobs like with the spray foam in the weeknights and shit like that, like I mentioned earlier, I will try to kick a work in get a working out as soon as I get home, and that's usually my schedule. I'm not one of those that's going to get up at 4 in the morning, take pre-workout, get it in before I go to work. That's just not me. I cannot get up that early for that. I can get up that early for hunting. I don't know. Maybe that's just my interest, but I can't do that to work out, man. I just can't. I don't know. So I kind of like that though. I feel like it also gives me a boost of energy to get that pre-workout in after I get home because I'm kind of also simultaneously getting tired at that point in the day. So it kind of boosts my energy and helps me do other shit aside from just working out too. So, with that being said, what's your thoughts on it? What are you doing now?
Well, I've always had a hard time. I always go kind of like a roller coaster. Sometimes I'm really good, sometimes I'm really bad. It's just up and down, up and down. So that's why my weight always like fluctuates. So that's why I always keep my medium t-shirts just handy. Just like I'm gonna get back
Yeah,
to that at some point. Sometimes I do, sometimes
yeah,
I don't. Uh, right now I'm into my super healthy. Well, not super healthy, but I've been eating a lot less and working out every day. But it is this whole thing of the dichotomy of trying to make sure um, your mental health's good, your physical health's good, and your
sure,
family life is good. And in my opinion, for me, those last two are going to be more present in my life than my physical health. So that's always kind of taken a backseat for me because having kids and then also the full time job and then just keeping your spouse happy, adding a workout in, and also, like you said, the meal preps and all that, that's going to take away from something. And more than likely, it's going to affect, for me, it always affected my sleep. I mean, I would stay up
hmm
late and wake up super early because super early is the only time I can't have time to work out. So it's one of those things like, and they always say, sleeping, you need a full night of sleep or else it's doing more damage than you need. It's like, so
yeah.
what's the point of any of this anymore if I'm not sleeping at all? So it
That, yeah,
fluctuates. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, it's all
yeah.
good.
No, sorry. I was just gonna say, yeah, man, that's a great point. It's like if you're not getting the sleep, it's like I don't know what. Also, what's regular sleep? I feel like I heard a statistic not too long ago that more people are getting 5 hours of sleep on average than they ever have been before. And so, I'm definitely in that category. That's honestly a pretty good average for myself. I really only get probably around 5 hours of sleep a night. And that's just, I don't know what exactly is going into that, but I feel like I've always kind of been a night owl and I have to get up for work early. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know how to manage that better. I've tried to train myself to go to sleep earlier, but sometimes it just doesn't happen, man. Like I just
Yeah.
and maybe that is attributed to my caffeine intake too late in the day. Maybe I'm not taking that as serious as I should, but I don't know, man. Got to
Well,
do what you got to do.
that's one of the things that kind of kickstarted my more health oriented focus is someone at work was talking about we were talking about caffeine and stuff like that, and I have this newer coworker who apparently he found out he was addicted to caffeine to the point where he one day decided to not take caffeine and he got a migraine, like a constant headache, and he
Yeah.
tried everything, took medicine, drank water, nothing was going, popped an energy drink and it went away. He's like, oh, I need to stop.
Wow.
And he's been caffeine free for a few years now. So I decided to
No
do the
shit.
experiment. Decided to do the experiment. Woke up one
Wow.
day, is like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, let me not have caffeine all day. And it was about 4 p.m. and then I started to get a headache. Like, oh no. Uh,
Wow.
but then I took medicine and then it went away. I was like, oh, okay. But it did make me realize like I don't actually need it that much. It's nice, but I don't need it. So I have cut back a little bit on it. And even with alcohol and stuff, I'd like to drink, but it's one of those things I think back to like my 75 hard days. I was talking to Danny about it a little bit ago. I almost look at when it comes to trying to be healthy, I think of it calories almost like money or like your time. You what you spend your calories on because you're allotted so much if you want to be healthy. What you spend the calories on, you want at least some kind of return, like protein. You don't want to be high in fat or high in carbs. Otherwise, you're wasting your money or your calories. And for me, that's kind of what beard kind of does. So I've actually even switched
Okay.
to I've been buying a lot of these. I've been buying the 8 packs of the liquid deaths because I feel like it's both helping
Ah,
with my me want to drink a beer or energy drink because I'll just take one for the road, drink that instead of an energy drink or beer. Well, obviously not beer for the road, but beer at night and stuff like that. Just a little roadie sody.
just a
Um,
tall boy.
yeah, that's it. It's actually helped a lot. Because even drinking those, they're big cans that gets me full a little bit, even though it's just
Nice.
carbonated water. So, yeah, just kind of focus on like caffeine intake, just other things that I'm not straight edge, but it's one of those things like I don't want something controlling me as I sit here and vape my vape. But tit for tat, you got
You're gonna be fucking. You'd be blasting that Kubla Khan here before too long. Straight edge. Or what? I don't even remember how it goes, but yeah, I remember the holler out in that album.
yeah. Well, even still, like so on average, I would drink about 4 to 5 cups of coffee a day. So
Yeah,
I
that's
do
crazy,
need to
man. I mean,
probably cut back.
yeah, I think there's definitely a caffeine epidemic going on, and I would assume probably all of America, just given the amount of fucking coffee chains that are popping
Hmm.
up on every corner nowadays. Um, but fuck, it's so good, and who doesn't love that burst of energy?
I do
I
love
mean,
coffee, but I think it's more for like I think I've talked about before. It's just the almost the ritual of the coffee, like just the black coffee this early in the
yeah,
morning, just the sipping on it, especially in the cold air, just sipping on a warm
yeah.
drink like that. I don't know. That's what I love about coffee. Energy drinks I
Oh
can do
yeah, especially
without.
yeah, same. Especially this time of year, man. Fall, wintertime, coffee. Oh fuck. If it's like bitterly cold outside,
Oh
just some
yeah.
coffee, warm you up, dude. Like there's
Hmm.
there's nothing like it. So yeah, I'm definitely not there yet, man. I probably have a caffeine problem, but and I tell my I definitely tell myself every morning, oh, I need my coffee before I do anything. So it's I probably should try to focus on that, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe someday.
Right.
I
Try.
I would like I, w- I would like to try that challenge just to see how different it is. I've heard of some dudes doing the 30-day, like the whole month no coffee challenge, and I've heard it's a drastic difference. But I don't know.
I don't know. When I did
What's
it,
the
I did
longest? What's the longest you've gone without?
just a day because I did it that
Okay.
one day, but I ended up drinking an energy drink after because I was so worried. It's like, am I really addicted? But then the headache medicine it started kicking in like immediately after I like about an hour and after I took it. It was like, oh, it's not the energy drink. Then I did another day. It's like, oh, okay, this isn't too bad. And really, it's physically, it's not really that much different. Like in all honesty, I actually think I was more alert and awake without it because I never had that crash. The
Oh,
because like I said, I drink about 4 cups of coffee a day, so usually about 1 p.m., 2 p.m. is it's rough for me. I get pretty tired. It's like, is this day over yet, kind of thing.
right. Yeah. I mean, you probably don't even recognize what the crash is from until you're off of that caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
Probably can't even recognize like where the crash comes from until you like don't do that thing. Like, whether it be sugar or caffeine.
Actually, now that I remember, basic in AIT, I probably would have. I wouldn't have caffeine because they didn't allow us to have coffee. So 5 months, but I mean that's different.
Oh,
I was in my
huh.
early 20s. I'm 33 now, and I've been drinking 4 cups of coffee for about 10 years now. So
Yeah.
I
It's in
remember
your
bringing two.
bloodstream.
I remember bringing two Nosses to the prison every day for my shift. Like I've always
Holy
been
shit.
a lot of
That's
caffeine.
crazy. That is crazy. Well, um, are you trying to? Oh, sorry.
So I was thinking, since it is already still late, we saw the periphery ranking. I was thinking, do
Mhm.
we want to do that next time and we could just talk about something else for now? Would you be okay with
Sure.
that? Okay.
Yeah, I would be okay with that because I still need to do periphery homework. So
Okay.
I'm
That's fine.
definitely down for that.
Um, I just wanted to bring something up. I was listening to a podcast today. I get it. I'm stealing an idea from another podcast, but it was an interesting conversation and I think it could apply. I was listening to Doc Coyle's podcast because I'm going to see Carnifex tomorrow. And
Oh,
I was
okay.
listening to a podcast where the guy from Carnifex was on the Doc Coyle's podcast, X Men or X
Oh, dude,
Man or whatever.
that's been going on for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I remember whenever I first got into listening to podcasts, that was like one of the first ones I checked out, and I really liked that one.
Yeah, this one was actually pretty good. Although I felt like, I don't know, just my personal opinion, I felt like he was constantly correcting Scott. I don't know. He had a guest on, but he was talking most of the time and correcting a lot of what the guests like. They're from Norway, not Sweden. Oh come on, just just
Yeah.
let it be, just let it pass, bro. But
Yeah.
yeah, he had Scott Ian Lewis from Carnifex on solely because he picked him specifically because he wanted to get his. He just saw a movie and wanted to get his perspective on it because he thinks he has more. The other guy, Scott, has more experience and knowledge of it, and that was the film Lords of Chaos and what that
Oh.
is within the metal because obviously it's a very what's the word I'm looking for, divisive film in the
Mm,
metal community, and I feel like that gets a lot more hate than love in the metal community. Have
hmm.
you seen this movie, the Lords of Chaos movie?
Is this the one where they casted like dudes to play the metal guys?
Mm-hmm.
I know like what it's about, but I don't know that I ever did watch it. I think I heard about it. I wanted to, but I don't think I ever saw it.
I got you. It's on Hulu. Yeah. Even if you haven't seen it, you've read the book, and I feel like you could probably you'll know exactly what we can still have the same conversation because um I think and Doc brought up a lot of the things that I think is the what a lot of people have issues with both the movie and the book because I feel like a lot of people who shit on the movie publicly are also the same people shit on the book and uh, and Scott seemed to be kind of in agreement of it. And it was, do you think there's the reason there's hate for the movie and the book is because it's with that story in black metal? If for those who don't know, that both the book and the movie kind of chronicle the beginnings of the Norwegian wave of black metal, mostly focusing on mayhem and the crimes that were going on, like the church burning. There was a murder. Uh, from the guy from uh, Emperor killed some guy at a club, and then also your Dead committed suicide. Uranus found and took pictures of it. Became a bootleg album cover, and then the bassist Varg Vikernes murdered the vocal or the guitarist Euronymous. So that's what the whole movie is about. Is about that. But do you think the reason there gets a lot of hate is because Shining is a genre that's built a lot on image and mysticism of an evil persona. So do you think shining light and giving more information on it kind of debunks that mysticism a little bit and kind of uh, makes these people who try to seem more human, like they're trying to seem like supernatural, like powerful entities, but these a book and a movie about it kind of makes them seem more human, kind of defeats their image. Do you think that might be why, or and do you see any issue with that?
I guess this is a mute button apparently. But Anyways, so it's a weird subject and topic to even begin with. To try to come out with the film based on that criteria was just going to be a ballsy move, man, to begin with. I mean, I feel like I haven't seen the film, but I can imagine it probably doesn't live up to the facts and how it really went down. And I don't know, maybe it does. Like I said, this is gonna be kind of hard for me to tackle because I haven't seen it. But um, with that being said, I do think that the mysticism does give black metal kind of more strength and power as far as I don't know if I'm saying that right, but like listenability. I don't know. It's so weird that like Urana, like they found him dead and decided to take a picture, right? Just that's
Yeah,
weird, right?
yeah,
Like, what a fucked up individual you got to be to do that and then put that as your album cover.
hmm
Like, I can't imagine being in a band with some dudes. One of them blows their head off, and I'm just like, yo, I found him, and I took this picture. We got to make that the album cover. It's like, what the fuck were you thinking, dude? Holy shit. So yeah, off the get-go, weird as fuck. But I don't know, man. It's hard to say. It definitely probably I could see where like black metal fans just probably wouldn't even want the film to begin with, just because it's like if you're gonna do it, it's got to be done right, sort of thing. So I don't know. What was the general consensus on the film after it was said and done by the black metal community? Like, did they love it? Did they hate it?
I saw almost only negative, and a lot of people were just. I can't. Everything I see about it is just that it sucks. It's shit. But I never see the
Mm,
reason for it. The only when I was listening to the podcast, the main complaint Scott Ian had was more just how the film was made. It's just like because he, I guess, is involved in like screenwriting and stuff. So he's like, this is a
mm,
poorly made movie, and he did bring up some points like he said when watching, he's trying to understand. So, what was the point of this movie? What were we trying to convey? This is mixed messaging kind of stuff, and I kind of
mm,
understand that because there's funny parts, but then there's like the super serious shit, like the dead suicide scene, the stabbing scene, like stuff like that. Then there's like weird scenes, but yeah, for the most part, when it comes to black metal fans, but I feel like black metal fans are you're not going to make them happy regardless. There's always going to be those ones that no matter what, they're going to be shit on it. So it's hard to
yeah,
tell.
like there's an aspect of that. Like it almost seems like they would, out of all genres of metal, it almost seems, I don't know why. I feel like they would probably be the most hardest to please based
Mm-hmm.
on a film. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So I don't know. I don't know, man. It's definitely crazy though. Man, I gotta see that film. It doesn't that, does that have a Macaulay Culkin brother in it? Is that
Yeah,
right?
it's Rory Culkin, I think. And he
Okay.
actually I thought he was pretty good in it. And apparently he actually is very serious about this project still. Like he got super into black metal because of it, was reading everything he could on it. Uh so I do appreciate him for doing that, actually getting involved and like understanding what was going on and all that. But
Who does he play in the movie?
he plays Euronymous,
Okay.
and he's the main character of the movie. Like it just follows him pretty much throughout it. Um, and then someone else famous plays, I think, Dead. I think it's like some famous actor's son or something plays Dead.
Huh.
But it is an intense movie, and I can understand like the uneven messaging because there's some like kids being kids stuff like drinking in the backyard with the bonfire. The dead has a buzz saw, kind of like going up to people, acting like he's gonna saw their heads off and stuff like that. And then like a few scenes later, the scene where he kills himself. And even that was, and they brought it up. That's like the best cinematic part of the movie. Is it's so intense. And it doesn't. You're not really able to. It doesn't cut to anywhere else. It's like this is the scene. It follows them everywhere. It shows them from beginning to end. So
Hmm.
it's a intense movie. Go into it with an open mind, and realize it's still a movie. They still have to entertain you. But I do think some of the things they brought up, I thought was like, yes, that's what the vibe I got. That's what I liked about it, and I can see why, even more so, black metal musicians and fans wouldn't appreciate it. And that was the some of the underlying tones of the movie, like things that don't really get talked about that they're just hinting at. So one thing he brings up is uh, like when Euronymous, when the movie first starts, he's at his parents' house in the basement, but he's like he has a brand new like full stack Marshall amp and head, like all these expensive instruments, and his parents' house. And then who owns the hen house that they stay at, where him and Dad are at? His parents. His I think they even mentioned his dad buys a record shop, so they were very well off. It was just like, and they brought up it's more of
Hmm.
a kind of like where are those movies they brought up, like American Beauty, kind of like suburban, um, not necessarily angst, but like when you have everything, but it's you still feel disassociated from everything. That's where the kind of issues come from, kind of thing. So they're bringing that up to where it's like they're not really bad kids. They're just trying to find something more, and
Hmm.
that's where they create this whole I want to be evil. I want to be perceived as evil. But with that, they kind of wrangled in some people who did some evil shit. They somehow attracted the attention of Varg Vikernes. Um,
Yeah.
and then also they brought up that they pretty much manipulated Dead into who obviously had severe depression, but they just kind of fed into him, and he just ended up killing himself. So I thought that was
Interesting.
interesting talk. What do you think on that? Because when it comes to it, we're in Norway, which is like the richest country in the world, and has safety nets to where you can't really, at least from what I understand, it's you can't really like in America, you can just be super dirt poor and that can't really do much. Like you might get some government assistance, but you have to go through that rigmarole and pass tests. So what are your thoughts on kind of that view? Do you think there's any truth to kind of like a suburban kid just trying to stick it to the man? Or do you think if that's true, do
I
you think
mean,
that's why they're pissed off about it?
I could definitely see that being a possibility. I guess the truth is the mystery here, right? I mean, do we
Mhm.
know if they were from wealthy families? Is that said anywhere that you know of? Or
I don't remember because it's been a long time since I've seen the movie, and even longer time since I've read the book.
yeah, it's
So
been a
I'm,
minute for me.
but even then, if it was in either one of them, the whole black and yellow community kind of condemned the both the book and the movie. So it's one of those things like, cool. So how am I
Yeah.
can't really get
Where's the
those.
facts?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what kind of sucks, man. It's like with other movies that are based on true events, you at least have some sort of insight, some sort of family members to talk to and shit like that. So I don't know that we have any of that here, but band members like fucking Necro Butcher who says comes out after the film and said, I would have killed Euronymous myself
Hmm.
or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Okay, dude. And so I don't know. It's wild, man. It is a wild thing to grasp that happened. But when you look at it from, just a broader picture and you have these fucking essentially teenagers and then these churches being fucking burnt, that's a crazy, crazy act, man. Like there was multiple church burnings, right? And
Hmm.
didn't they kind of narrow that down to Varg? I think that a lot went unproven, but I believe he is the one that ended up getting caught with arson for that, right? Or
Yeah,
no?
I think they pretty much did kind of turn him into the fall man, even though yes, he was involved on a lot of them, but I think they just decided to. I don't know if there were any of the rest, but I know they pretty much pinned them all on him to just kind of say case closed kind of thing. Um,
Hmm.
which depend it doesn't matter what your views on him on who the listener anyway. It doesn't matter your views on Varg, good, bad. He did some bad shit. I mean, he deserved
Hmm.
he had to go to prison. Um,
Yeah. He's had a couple stints behind him now, I'm pretty sure.
yeah, I think he's out now because for some reason because I follow Talak, the current guitarist of Mayhem, because they'll do like guitar playthroughs, and I think because of that, every now and then I'll get a video recommendation from something he's put out recently. So I guess he's
Yeah.
out now. I don't know. He has a son
Mhm.
teaching him guitar riffs.
Hmm. Interesting. I know that their prison systems are a lot different than they are over here too.
Yeah, he
They
was allowed
are
to record
very,
albums.
yeah, very more accommodating over there, but it's a lot more isolation based, I believe, than what it is over here. They are pretty much given their own room with all of their own shit almost. Uh, it almost seemed like they're more like housed, in a place, in a area that they can't leave, but they're almost secluded to just themselves and their own devices and shit like that. So, I'm sure they can't get guns and extreme shit like that, but they can, yeah, I believe he was writing and recording still while he
Mm-hmm.
was in prison, but I don't know. Um, I don't know. Back to the movie, man. It's just like, or the material of it. It's hard to say. I mean, I think that they could either be broke teen angst or rich teen angst. It could go either way on the fence. I think you can have um, individuals out of either one of those groups starving for attention and doing these outlandish acts, which, um, I essentially they got from being so extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it kind of worked if that's what they were going for. I mean, Um, but yeah, man, I don't know. It's definitely interesting for sure. And it definitely still, even not seeing the film, just thinking about it and remembering getting into it in high school and reading all about it and shit. It was definitely gnarly shit, dude. Definitely didn't have that going on in America that to those depths.
Yeah.
Was there any other run-ins in the movie with other black metal bands over there, like other artists or like Behemoth or anything like that? Or I don't know
No,
if they ever crossed paths or not, but I know that they were kind of booming around the same time.
no, really. So there's other musicians in the movie, but from what I understand, you don't really know who they are until you go to the credits. The only people that you know and what other bands is obviously you know Burzum because Varg's in it. You know, the guy, I forget his name. I think it's Faust. Was it Faust who did the
Hmm.
stabbing from Emperor?
Um, no, or oh, I don't know. That might be right. I think I'm getting him mixed up with Frost from Dark Throne. Um, I don't know.
I got you.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know. I could be wrong.
that part's in it, but I don't think it ever says he's in a band. It's pretty much the main focus is Mayhem and Euronymous.
Okay.
Then Varg comes in. Well, that was another thing that got brought up because it shows them recording their debut, De Mysterious Sathanas or whatever.
Oh, Dom
Um,
Sathanas, yeah.
yeah, they're in a very nice studio. That's another
Huh.
thing that kind of makes me wonder when it comes. Because that's the one thing that's always kind of annoyed me with Burzum. I can't. Burzum's okay. I can't really get into it, but I remember listening to an interview to where he was purposely seeking out the shittiest sounding equipment just to make it sound shitty, which makes it. But in context with if they were rich, it's like that's even like I don't. I'm trying to think of the right word. I don't want to
I
say
feel like we just brought that up too.
yeah. It's a try hard or it's trying to portray yourself as something you're not kind of thing.
Hmm.
But I at the same time I don't know because either way you're looking for a certain sound, but you can still get that. I don't know. I don't know what I'm getting with that, but And also,
Yeah.
none of this is. I'm not trying to shit on any of these bands. I love these bands. I love Mayhem, um, but I do. I think it's an interesting dialogue because obviously there's diehard uh, black metal fans who kind of just shut down any conversation when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like it's interesting history just for what it is. I mean, and that's undeniable. I don't
Mhm.
care if you're a black metal fan or not. Any metal fan should, I think, pick up the book Lords of Chaos because it's an interesting read, even though there's some terrible shit in there and there's some I think assumptions that is tied to influence shootings or and some like
Mhm.
killings, right? That are even outside of black metal bands. I
Yeah,
think there's some mentions in the book about that kind of shit. So, um, I don't know. For those reasons, though, it is interesting, and I can't help but want to read about it and shit like that. And uh, I don't know. I need to check out the movie though. I definitely need to
it is
watch the
on
movie.
Hulu, I think,
Okay,
if you have
cool.
Hulu. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I do.
Um, I did like the movie. It's one of those movies I do want to show someone, but I can't really show Danny. Is like she might like the first like 15 minutes, but then when it gets weird, it's like okay. But
Yeah.
there's things, little details I think they put in the movie is like, oh yeah, that was confirmed by that one interview, like Necro Butcher leaving because of the pictures being taken. Like Uramus comes
Hmm.
up to him immediately and is like, hey, I got these pictures and I got this fragment. And he just looks at him, punches him in the face, like, I'm fucking out of here, kind of thing. Like that was in
Curious.
the movie. His
Wow.
dad's audition tape sent to him with a crucified dead mouse.
Really?
That's in the
I
movie.
don't remember
That's
that.
like
Wow.
that's it's little things like that. It's like, yeah, that's cool. I like that. I
Huh.
recommend it.
Interesting. That is. Yeah, man. I mean, they were fucking a fucked up odd group of dudes, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Crazy. Crazy shit.
Yeah. Also, so obviously not for the next episode because we're going to do Perfume, but I was thinking some point in this winter, um, maybe we do a top tier of, or just a tiers list. Like you usually would do in rankings. We did a big four one time and stuff like that. I was thinking, since I think this is more of an actual concentrated list, um, we can do a tier list of the early Norwegian black metal bands of like the S tier to the F tier. How would you feel like that? Because
Okay.
winter is coming.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
black metal season.
Absolutely, dude. It is. Yeah. I'm all for that, man. I love doing new shit. So I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Yeah. That's all I got about Lords of Chaos. I thought that was an interesting podcast I had listened to, so I wanted to talk about it with you. Um.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'll if I'm good enough about doing some homework, maybe I'll try to watch it this week and maybe we can kind of bring it up and rehash it next week even.
Okay.
I don't know that, if I do that, maybe we can label it like as a two-part series or something, and go over it again and shit. And yeah, I don't know. Just because it was kind of off the ball tonight, so um, but
You're
yeah,
good.
that I think I like that tiered list. I think that's a good idea, man.
I
Always
got you.
doing new shit because like the rankings, I mean, yeah, they're fun and shit, but I think implementing the new stuff is a good idea.
Hmm. I do think if you watch it, there's one you'll probably love the. Because you probably remember the. It's in the book. The photographs of like Varg with like his medieval weapons and stuff.
Oh yeah.
That is so. It's a very serious and like depressing movie at times. That part's the funny, uneven messaging, but it's a hilarious part of the movie because it's Varg splits off from Uranus. I'm going to show you. He takes his dumb, I think some guy from the band Thorn. It's some musician from another band. I don't remember what. It's one of those smaller ones that no one really talks about. But let's invite the press. Tell them what we're doing. We were doing these church burnings, they're
Was
just like these awkward, like, okay, but what's going on? He has the Nazi flag behind him, all these medieval weapons in front of him, and like, so you're a pagan Satanist Nazi. Yes. You do realize all three of those conflict with each other, right? That whole scene is it's awkward and funny. You'll get a laugh out of it because
hell
just
yeah,
like it makes him look like such a nerd.
yeah. Yeah, I look forward to that. I've been wanting to watch it, so yeah, man, I think it's a great time too.
Oh, one more thing. I find this weird. So Mayhem, last thing on Lord's Chaos. Mayhem originally was talking shit on this movie. Is like this they should not be made. I think they even threatened to sue or something like that.
Yeah.
But then they provided the music for it.
Are you serious?
And Attila Cesar, his son
Uh-huh.
plays him in the movie.
For real?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, so that must have been a whole fucking money grab thing, is what I'm thinking.
Yes. For hype.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
What a bunch of sellouts.
I still love him.
Yeah, I know. I did too. I got a spot for them for some reason. They're weird, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I got. Do you have anything else you wanna add for this week?
I don't, I don't think so, man. I think that's a good podcast. I think we hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be back next week. Hopefully, well this time next week, hopefully the country's not in flames by any issues. Yeah.
Yes.
Uh in the meantime, check us out on Facebook, check us out on TikTok, check us out on YouTube. You can also send us an email at deathmetaldaddies@gmail.com. Send us your gripes, complaints, your recommendations, or anything we might have missed.
Nudes.
Yes.
Yep.
Whatever you got on you. Yeah.
And
Um,
any local bands wanting to get promoted, send us your shit. Hit us up. Let us know if you got some new releases coming. And yeah, man, we'll give it a listen.
oh, I forgot. We're gonna do a quick word from our sponsor.
Oh,
Hey, this is Jeff from Death Metal Daddies. You should check out Death Metal Daddies at Death Metal Daddies on Spotify.
oh yeah.
All right, we're back. So yeah, yeah.
Way to go,
Until
Jeff.
then, see us. Yeah. I forgot my sign out.
I'm Ron Burgundy. You stay classy, San Diego.
Wanted to see what all the fuss was about.